Hi fibre friends, welcome to another episode of Wander and Create with Emma. This is my monthly vlog episode where I catch you up on all things knitting, crochet and other activities I've been up to over the last month. I'm Emma of Wander and Create with Emma, so let's get straight into it. Yesterday I completed the annual Vancouver Sun Run. It's a 10k race that happens every year. I've only done it once before, I think in 2022, and I needed a challenge this year to get me more active, so I signed up to the 10k and I've been training away for it. Maybe not as much as I had wanted to or should have done. I did it, it was fun, it was hard, but I completed it, and I completed it in a time that I'm happy with. I didn't stop running, even though there's a lot more incline than I remembered there being, but it wasn't too hot, it wasn't raining, it was kind of perfect running weather, I think. But yeah, I am feeling slightly tired today, but my legs aren't too bad. Yeah, feeling proud to do it, but now the important thing is I keep up with the running, because I am at a stage where I am enjoying it. It's not so much of a slog. I'm actually quite enjoying it once I get into it. Takes me about 3k, I've realised, to actually get into it. The first 3 kilometres I find the toughest, and then I'm good. So even though I don't have a goal, I want to just try and keep going with it to keep up that activity, and maybe work in some other type of exercise around that. Anyway, just wanted to share that accomplishment with you because I'm feeling quite good about it, having just only finished it yesterday. But onto knitting. I will start with my finished objects, of which there is one project that I have finished in this last month, and that is the scrappy kind of stripy socks that I was working on with the leftover yarn I had from the Sabrina socks, my latest like sock pattern design that I published back in March, and I had some Cascade Heritage sock yarn left over from that design, and I wanted to make some other socks with it, because if you're new here and don't know, this year 2025 I am trying to work my way through the yarn that I have over buying more, although as you're going to see in this video I have bought more. So anyway, I just did some ankle socks because I wasn't sure how much yarn I would have, and I realised before I started recording this video that I've actually been wearing these today, so if they look a little worn, that's why. But I think they're very cute. They fit very well, they're perfect for like a trainer. I kind of love the look of them. I just did like 3 rounds of the white yarn, or kind of off-white, and then 1 round of the brown yarn. I just alternated that all the way down. I did a afterthought heel, and I did a white yarn for the toes. So yeah, that's my one finished project of the month, but I'm enjoying them. This yarn is actually so soft, like it's a commercially available yarn, it's fairly affordable. I think this was 20 Canadian per skein, and I have got, for example, the brown yarn, I knit 1 full pair of socks with that, and then have used it in these, and I still have a little bit left over. Not much, but enough that I probably could have done the toes with each of it as well. So, and similarly for the white yarn, I also obviously knit a pair of the Sabrina socks with that yarn as well, and also got ankle socks out of it. So obviously dependent on your foot size, you may get a couple of socks out of it, but yeah, I think they're good value for money, super soft, you can put them in the wash. Yeah, great. I don't know if you saw last week's video of my yarn store tour of the Okanagan region in British Columbia, where I had plans to visit quite a few yarn stores. I think I had 4 planned to visit across the weekend, and I was planning to film them so I could show you. But as you might have seen, I only managed to get to 2 because I hadn't done enough research. We were traveling there on a long weekend, the Easter weekend, so actually that was over stat holidays. Some of the yarn stores didn't open on a stat holiday, etc, etc. You can watch the whole thing, I'll put a link to it here. It's a bit of fun, and it just means I have to go back to that area so I can visit the others. But I wanted to just show you what I bought, because I realised I didn't actually really talk about what I bought in that video or even show you, so I want to just share my yarn acquisitions with you. So this is where, you know, I'm using my stash, but I have bought these just as like a souvenir yarn, but I also kind of have projects in mind for at least some of the yarn I bought. So the first yarn store that I got to go to was a Twist of Yarn in Vernon. And I was very happy to see they were open. We actually did go there on a Saturday. It was quite funny because the yarn store is actually just on a more like residential street, and it looks like a house, or at least it is a house. So from a slight distance we thought, oh, is this actually a store? Is it someone's home? Then we saw the signage, then we weren't sure if it was open, but it was, happily to say. And it's a really cozy store, like packed with yarn and project bags and notions and books and everything. And yeah, just lots of options available from, you know, like the more commercially available yarn, but they also have their own hand-dyed yarn, a Twist of Yarn own yarn, which is what I bought a skein of. This one, it's a fingering weight yarn. I really like the speckles of it. So it's a squishy sock yarn. It's 75% merino, 25% nylon. And for 100 grams, you get 400 meters of yarn, or 437 yards. It is really soft and squishy, I must say. The colorway of this is called Industrial Age, but I actually picked it because I thought the speckles were quite Pacific Northwest colouring, and I don't know, that just really appealed to me. I guess I've just been living in this part of the world for too long. I think I know what I want to do with this yarn, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm thinking, because I only got one skein, I need to pick a project small enough. And previously I have made the Jessie Made Designs framework bralette, and I don't actually know what happened to that. I think it maybe got lost in moving at some point. But that was only one skein of yarn, I think, much like actually the Ripple bralette of hers that I'm wearing now. That was just with one skein of sock yarn, Lily and Pine, I believe that was. So I'm thinking I might make another one of them because I really liked that framework bralette. I don't know what happened to my other version, but I think this could be a nice use of, I think that pattern would be a nice use of this yarn. But we'll see. You know, I love making socks, but I think I've made enough socks recently. I want to do something different. And then the other item that I bought from a Twist of Yarn is this project bag. I wasn't intending to buy a project bag, I must admit, but I was so drawn to this yellow mustard colour. It's like my favourite. I love yellow, particularly this like mustard yellow colour. So I was super drawn to it. A project bag is always going to be useful. And this is a super cute one to take out and about, take to knit nights, etc. I don't know if they make it or it's a brand. Yeah, I'm not sure. But I thought it was super cute, and it's small enough. You could get small projects in there like a top, socks, accessories. But yeah, I really am happy with this little cutie. Okay, and then the other yarn store that I did get to go to is the Art of Yarn in Kelowna. So I originally, when I was spending the day in Kelowna on the Friday that we were there, Good Friday, did not get to go to Art of Yarn because it was a stat day. That meant that 2 of the yarn stores in Kelowna were closed on that Friday. On the Saturday we went to Vernon. On the Sunday all the yarn stores were shut, so I knew that Sunday was definitely not an option. We went to the Vernon, as I say in the video, we went to Vernon on Saturday. Actually turned out there wasn't too much to do in Vernon, so we ended up going back to Kelowna early, which meant I could go to the Art of Yarn, and I'm super happy we did because it was a great yarn store. Really big, again like packed full of yarn, all different brands, and again commercial, smaller, independent dyers, local dyers, etc. So I did spend a lot of time going through and thinking about projects that I had in mind that I wanted to make, or yarn that I had my eye on, and was it going to be in the store. And what I ended up with is the Brooklyn Tweed Prairie. I would say prairie, but Perry? I don't know actually. But anyway, I bought 3, they had 3 skeins in the like one batch. Although I've lost the bands for these 2, but they were all in the same batch. out of the few they had. These were the only 3 of the same batch. And this was the day after, I think, Brooklyn Tweed announced that they were planning to not do yarn production anymore. So I already had in my mind that I had previously bought this Brooklyn Tweed yarn and made the Rizzo blouse by Poison Girls. I knit that a few years ago with this yarn, although a different colorway. It was like a bright red. And that one, and I really liked this yarn. It was really soft, really nice to knit with and to wear. Unfortunately, that top ended up in the tumble dryer and shrunk, so I couldn't wear it anymore. And ever since, I've wanted to buy more of this yarn, but I just never have done. However, then I saw the announcement that they weren't producing anymore, and I knew that I wanted to get more. And so already Brooklyn Tweed yarn was on sale in Art of Yarn, and I went hunting, and I did manage to find this Peri? Why am I questioning this? Peri? I don't know. But anyway, I found it, and I quite like this. It's like a burnt orange, reddish colour. And I initially bought it with the thinking that I was going to make the Rizzo blouse again, because I did like that one. However, I think maybe I have slightly increased in shape since I first knit that blouse, and I think originally when I bought 3 skeins to make that and it was fine back then, I don't know if I'm going to get away with it now. So I was having a research on Ravelry about to look for projects that use this yarn, or patterns where people have used this yarn to knit or crochet the garment. I wanted to still make a top, and put in the yardage that I had available and just saw what came up. And I think, although I'm not 100% set on it yet, but I think the pattern that I am going to make is the Sailor Swift top by Kutavakika. It's the only one that I saw from my research that, 1, I like the look of, and 2, I really think I do have enough of this yarn to make without having to make it super cropped or anything. However, I think to double ensure that I have enough yarn on it, I am going to have to use another colour to do the stripes. I was originally thinking I'll do that, I just won't do the stripes. But I think I want to ensure that I don't waste this yarn by making something I don't wear enough because it's too short or too tight or something. I will use the stripes. I'm going to have to dive into my stash and find some colour that I can do the striping with. But I think that's what I'm going to make. I think it'll be a good summer top, a good layering piece. And yeah, it seems to fit the bill with this yarn, the amount that I have and the size that I would need to knit. So I think that's what I'm going to do with it. But yeah, I was very happy with the yarn stores that I got to go to in the Okanagan region. If you have never been to that region before, it's a very beautiful area. It's by a lake. It's an area known because of the climate there, known for its fruit production and wine production. There's so many wineries around there. So I really recommend it as a place, and now I know it's full of yarn stores in the area as well. So really recommend going away to that area if you get the opportunity to do so. Okay, so on to my works in progress. I actually only have 2 to show you, and one of those I haven't really touched in the last month. So really only 1. It feels like I have been doing a lot of knitting and crocheting, but I don't have much to show you, so I don't know what's been going on there. But here we go. The first one I want to show you that I think I had started in my last vlog, but I think I'd only done a tiny part of it, and it's the Stella Quilt cushion. Or well, rather I was following the pattern for the Stella Quilt blanket by just making 1 panel of the blanket using some yarn that I had left over in my stash. And I'm almost finished this one. So I have got the first panel here. I really love how these colours came together. I love the colours. And I didn't run out of yarn, which was the main thing. But because I wasn't confident that I would have enough yarn to do this all over again in all 3 colours, I really didn't have much of this kind of pink left over. I wasn't confident I'd be able to do this whole motif again. So instead what I decided to do was to knit a big base square. So following the pattern of the base square, but I just continued increasing the stitches until it matched the size of this. So to figure that out, I just calculated like how many stitches it was going to be, kind of diagonally. Oh, I can't do this and hold it. Like diagonally across the panel. So I know that each square is like 31 stitches and it goes 4 across, and calculated it that way. And I used the white yarn and the green yarn to do that because I had lots of the green left and a little bit of the white, and I thought, well, I'll just keep going until the white runs out and then we'll put in the green. And this is how it has turned out. So it's a little sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, like just a bit of colour blocking. And yes, obviously not even at all. There's a lot more green than the white, but I quite like that I can now put the cushion either way that I want. I did notice this is yarn that I got, I think they're called Knitting en Route, and they recycle yarn, like they'll save it from fibre libraries or donations and they'll repurpose the yarn to sell again. And I can see when I was wash and blocking it, there's this big stripe where the colour changes in the yarn. So I'm not sure what happened there. I'm assuming it's just from one project. And it's lots of, I haven't cut them, but you can see where the yarn was like tied together as they were rewinding it. But anyway, it doesn't really matter to me. The point was just to use up the stash. And now I have none of the white. I have a tiny bit of this pink and a tiny bit of this green. Really like my wall. I should have brought it with me. But yeah, really tiny, like I just have to find a little project to use them up. But I haven't finished it yet because I'd actually been waiting for this one to dry. This Kubo yarn was taking a bit longer compared to the green and white yarn. And then I think I'm just gonna crochet them together so that I can easily undo it if I ever need to wash it in the future. I was thinking I could maybe put an edging. I was thinking maybe like a, what would you call it? Like crocheting a sort of ripple wavy edging around the seams, but we'll see how creative I feel about that. I don't know yet. But anyway, I just need something that I can easily pull back and be able to fix if I ever need to take the covers off to clean them. So yeah, I think very shortly, once this is fully dry, I will crochet them together and insert into the cushion, and I'll have one cushion cover out of 2 complete. The second cushion cover, I'm not sure about yet. I've been looking for inspiration. I think I just want to freestyle design something myself, but I don't know what yet, or colours or anything. So stay tuned to see what I decide to do there. And then my other work in progress, as I mentioned, is really not worth showing you because I haven't worked on it this month. I actually don't think I'd worked on it in the previous month's vlog either, but just to keep in check, it is the Tiny Dots shawl by Amanda Kafka. It's been sitting in a project bag, so it is slightly tangled, but here it is. It's got sequin yarn in it, and I got it as a kit. I won it as a kit, and yeah, I'm really enjoying. I was really enjoying the process of this, but I put it down for something else and just haven't returned to it yet. But I actually don't think I've got much more to go with it, so hopefully by May's vlog I will have done that. And that should be just in time for when the evenings are starting. You know, it'll be getting warm in the day, but the evenings might be cool. And I want a little shawl that I can just put around me if I go down to the beach or something. We've actually been having some amazing nature in Vancouver, like this last couple of weeks. I try and walk down by the water a few times a week, and on my walks recently, I have seen a bald-headed eagle, I have seen an otter, we've seen porpoises, and then most excitingly, there has been a grey whale that's been coming in almost every day. I think it's been spotted. So I've been out a couple of times and just seen this whale and like stood there and really admired the whale and just sat there watching it, and can't believe that I get to live somewhere where I can see something like that every day, or for at least at the moment. It's actually something that I've wanted to happen since I moved to Vancouver, like almost 7 years ago now. And I thought one day I'll be by this water and I'm gonna see whales or orcas. Orcas are the only ones I haven't seen yet, but they have also been spotted like coming in and out of the inlet, so fingers crossed I will get lucky one day. I know I could go and pay to do the whale watching, but there's something fun about just being able to see it when you're out doing your day-to-day activities. But anyway, I've been enjoying that a lot, and I'm just looking forward to having more time outside in the nice weather. That is all the works in progress and my knitting, actually all knitting, no crochet projects from the last month. Something else that I have kind of rediscovered in a way in the last month is my local library, which is funny for me to say because actually, if you might not know, I am a qualified librarian, but I haven't really used my public library for a long time. And I was on a lunch break quite recently, the weather was bad, so I thought, oh, I know where I'll go. I'll go to the library and just have a wander around. And I ended up going to the knitting and crochet section, and it just reminded me of what public libraries have to offer. Like, they had so many knitting and crochet books, some that I had wanted to be reading or wanting to buy myself, and so I picked up quite a few. The first one is Kiko Okamoto's Japanese Knitting Stitches. So I have been having a flick through this book, and as I mentioned, my second cushion cover that I want to do, I said I wanted to design it myself. I've actually been flicking through here for some inspiration. They have lots of stitch patterns and charts, so you can try it out for yourself. There's some colour work, there's like cable work. I'll just flash a little bit because I don't want to show everything. So that's been really fun. And I also borrowed this this kind of more storybook, Knitlandia by Clara Parks. This one appealed to me because, see, I've travelled quite a bit of the world, and this is about a knitter exploring the world. So I'm only a few pages into it so far, but I'm excited to see how it compares to my own travels when I've been knitting and stuff around the world, and see what Clara got up to. So enjoying that. And then the last book that I've borrowed for now is actually a magazine. It's Pom Pom, an edition of Pom Pom magazine, which I think you can't even get the printed products. I don't think they're going to make printed products of Pom Pom magazine anymore. Or are they completely stopping anyway? I can't remember. But they have all the issues of this in the public library, and that I was thrilled because I've never bought it myself. Again, it's just like a purchase that I haven't, there's like something psychological there for me that I'm like, oh, I can't spend that much money on a magazine, when actually now for free I can borrow it from the library and flick through it, and I think, oh no, they're such high quality, loads of patterns, lots of other information, they actually are worth the investment. However, you can just borrow them for free from the library, so if it's not affordable to you at all, getting a library card is completely free, so I highly recommend checking out your local library. Often they can also do kind of interlibrary loans, so if something's not available at your library but it is available at another library within the area that your library might be in, they can retrieve it from there and stuff. So this is a PSA for local libraries, I guess. This edition is, the guest editor is Candice English of Farmer's Daughter Fibres, and yeah, there's so many beautiful patterns in here. One pattern in here that I particularly like the look of is this Chinook Winds jumper or sweater. I love the like tassels on it. It looks light and airy, so a good kind of something you could put on in the evenings again in the summer. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to make this in the time that I've borrowed this magazine for, but maybe it'll encourage me to get the digital edition of this magazine so I can knit it at some point in the future. But anyway, sign up to your local library. And then one other book that I didn't borrow but I ended up buying because I've had my eye on it for so long, and I finally caved in when I saw it in a bookstore recently, and that is the Sock project by Tsleil-Waututh Knits. As you know, I love knitting socks, so naturally I love Tsleil-Waututh's sock designs. And I was flicking through this book and it's full of fun, like colourful sock patterns, but it's also got a lot of information on there for sock design. So although I have designed my own socks in the past, I've had 3 sock patterns, it's still giving me lots of information to learn. It has all the different types of heels you can do, like the heel flaps or gusset or forethought heels, afterthought heels, all of that. So I think even though I think I'm good at knitting socks and know the techniques, there's still a lot for me to learn in this book. So I'm very happy that I made this purchase and invested in it. That is all the updates from me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please don't forget to give it a like if you did, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already so you don't miss future episodes from me. I'd love to know what you've been working on over the last month, from knitting to crochet or any other type of projects in between. And stay tuned for next week's episode, where you'll be exploring the Okanagan region with me while I knit a pair of the Imber socks by Tsleil-Waututh Knits. See you next time.